So in the last episode, I talked about tables. If you still don't understand that, join my help Discord server in the description in the channel, or DM me on Roblox or Discord for assistance, and I'll do my best to help. But in this video, I'm going to be talking about for loops. Now, for loops are essentially loops that go through a table. So for however many objects in this table do this. So I'm going to give an example. So I'm going to make multiple base plates. I'm just going to duplicate like that. So we know how get children works. Get children creates a table because we talked about that last episode. So I'm going to do local children equals game.workspace get children. This will get all of the children in workspace. So I'll get all of this. And I'm going to do a for loop. For that you start a for loop with for index. Now the first one you give is the index. It's the number in the table. So for instance, if I had this table, right here, and I had A, B, C, and D, right? A would be 1, B would be 2, C would be 3, D would be 4. That's what this is. It's the placement in the table. Then I'm going to do what the second one can be whatever you want to call it. It could be dog, cat, or both of these can be anything. This could be A, this could be B, this could be cat, this could be dog. It doesn't really matter as long as you call it correctly. But for this example, I'm going to use index and objects. N, pairs or I pairs. This pairs gets everything in a table minus the nil, I believe. And I pairs gets everything in the table, including a nil object. So I'm going to use I'm going to use I pairs because I pairs does not go through no values, and it's faster in that aspect. So I'm going to go children. I'm going to do I pairs and children. This will get the everything that we got in this table right here. So this is essentially a table full of all of this when we run the game. And then I'm going to do. So this is how for value 1, value 2, in table do. That's how all for loops are formatted, or for this type of for loop, the one that iterate through tables. Then I'm going to print objects. I'm going to print the index and the object, and we're going to run the game. Press play, and we will notice that in our output, right here, it said it got camera. That is the first item in the table. Then it got base plate, which is whatever base plate that is. Then it got terrain, and then everything else in the base plate, or everything else in workspace. So it got all the stuff here. Now the index, like we said, it's the position in the table. So camera was first, base plate was second, terrain was third, and so on. Now I'm going to do another example. So let's say I wanted to do count a number, right? So we'll do players game dot player dot player added connect function. This will get the player, like we mentioned in my functions video right here. So the player that joins will be function player. So then we're going to do player wait for child. Well, sorry. Player dot character added connect function. This will fire every time a character is added to the game. Whenever a player dies or anything, this returns the character. So character dot humanoid health equals humanoid dot health minus 10. So when I run this, it will damage me 10 if it does an error. Probably spelled something wrong. Yeah. So you notice it damaged me by 10. Now, what if you want to damage the player 10 times? Well, instead of doing this right here, you could do this. You could do this 10 times, because it'll do the same thing. See? Did the same thing. Or what you could do is do a for loop. For number equal to. So this is another type of for loop. So the first one I explained was for tables. You put something in a table, and it iterates through it and tells you stuff in the table. That can be used for inserting stuff into tables. I'll get later into that in my advanced scripting tutorial or intermediate scripting tutorials. But right now we're just worrying about what the base concepts are. But I'll explain that later. But I'm just explaining the base concepts of for loops. So for number. So the number is the value that you give it. This could be A, this could be B, this could be whatever, but I'm just going to call it number for this example. So for number equal to, so we're going to set it equal to 0 to 10. Do. This means that until the number equals 10, the number starts at 0 and goes all the way to 10. So for number equal to 0 to 10, do character this. Now if we play, we'll notice we have no health at all, and we're still alive. Oh, it's because we died. Yeah, well, I found a bug on Roblox. Huh. That's interesting. Yeah. Huh. I broke Roblox. That's nice. Well, you see, it killed me because it's damaging me for 10 times 10. Whatever. It's damaging for exactly 100 health. And you notice if I change this to 100, it'll damage me for that much. It'll kill me instantly. And we'll have like negative a million health. Oh, wow. So it broke it. Nice. So that's an example of using numbers. Now we could also do print this. We could print the health that the character has every time it damages me. Okay, so we see it starts at 0, then it goes down until it hits 10 because it's 0, and it runs exactly 10 times. And it damages me, right? So that's how those loops work. Now, there's another type of for loop. I talked about the counting or increment for loops, and then I talked about the I pairs for loops or in pairs for loops. Now there's another for loop. It's called for value in next and I pairs, I believe. It goes like this is something I have never really used that much, so I have no. It's yeah. So I'm gonna create a table, local workspace equals game.workspace get children. Oh my, get. That was interesting. So then I'm gonna do for I or value or index I pairs or no, my gosh, for index and objects. Like I said, just for this example, these can be whatever you want. In next in workspace, and then we do print index and objects. And if we run this, we notice it attempts to call a number value because apparently everything's just so complicated. Uh, oh my. Yeah, okay, attempt to call a number value. Because next gets the position in the table. So we have to print works next in workspace. And we'll notice it prints the first item in the table. Now, to loop through that, you go, oh my gosh, this is missed. Won't let me delete it, nice. For, I'm gonna do index because why not? Same thing, index values in next, and then the table name, which is that do print the values. There is no parentheses with the next because the way it's set up, it gets the next item in the table no matter. If you do parentheses, it's looking for, I don't know how to describe it. It's like it just doesn't work. So this is not used very much in Lua unless you're doing massive complex metatable functions, which I will never be getting into because metatables will never be talked about because they're used for exploiting Roblox, and I will not be going over those. But basically, this gets the next item in the table for every item in the table, and it prints it. Like we notice, it prints the item out just like a iPairs. So I can do index. And we run it, and it does the same exact thing as iPairs. Or we could just do this in iPairs, and it's literally the same exact thing. And that's essentially the three different types of for loops. So we have for number equal to 1, 2, whatever number you want to put. I'm going to put 100, do. Then we have for index objects in iPairs, do. And then we have the same thing, pairs, do. And then we have for index objects in next table, do. Like this. These are the four different types of for loops. Well, yeah. Now, the ones I've mainly used are these. These right here. This one is you very rarely see that, like I mentioned. But I taught it just because there's nothing on the internet about it unless you dig really deep on the dev forums, and I know some people don't feel like doing that, but I'm just going to go over and recap for what each one does. So for number equal to 0 to 100. So this number will be set to 0 the first time it runs. Then it'll run until number equals 100. Like if we do print number, it'll be 1, 2, 3, 4 until it reaches 100. And once it reaches 100, it stops. Then we have index and objects. So index is the place on the table, and objects is the item in the table. So iPairs ignores nil items, or ignores nothing values, and it will iterate through the table, and if it finds a value that doesn't equal anything, then it skips over that and goes to the next one. And it works, it does it for every item in the table, like we noticed with this. Index and object, same thing as this right here. These two, they mean the same thing. The position in the table and the object in the table. And pairs does not skip over nil values. So it will find a nil value and it will print the nil value which can sometimes actually break scripts depending on what you're doing with it. So I wouldn't recommend using that unless you really have to. And then we have the same thing, the position in the table and the object in the table. And next, it'll go to the next item in the table that you give it, and it will print out or do whatever you want to the next item in the table. But this right here can literally be replaced with this, can be replaced with this or this, because it's the same exact thing. And those are the different types of for loops. If you have any questions, message me on Discord. I will be, or join my Discord server for help. I will be linking the doc to the stuff I just did in the description. Thanks. See ya.